Well, good evening and welcome to About the Valley. We have, as I say, we go on About the Valley whenever we have a guest lined up. And tonight we have Jim Shuris, the DPW Director, Department of Public Works Director. Get mixed up because he has Jamie as the Highway Superintendent.
Right.
So he's a little bit different. He is the head boy. He's the guy in charge of everything, from water to sewer to roads.
You're really building me up, Harry.
Yep.
We have a lot going on in this town.
There is a lot going on.
We really do. We have some of the best people that work for this town also, both in the administrative and right on through the ranks down to the people at the lowest rank. So everybody works together to get the job done.
I got to say, I saw the sweeper out.
Yes, it was out today.
I saw it yesterday on Benson Road. Then I saw it on Fowler Road, but it was parked on the side. I said, hope it didn't break down again.
Well, we do our cross every morning when that thing starts up because it is on its last leg. And right now we're sweeping the country roads, the gutters, so that we can put down the fog lines. You know, we had center lines painted a couple weeks ago, but you know, the fog lines are the important part on the country roads that don't have street lights. So that's what the focus was: Fowler, Benson, and some of these side streets, Highland Street, things like that.
You do that here in Northbridge, but I went through Sutton the other day, and they just paved part of along like Manchok Pond, or Lake, whatever you want to call it. No lines. They don't have a center line, no fog lines, nothing.
Yeah, well, you know, the most important part of a car is a horn. One of the most important parts of a road are pavement markings, so people can identify.
Yeah, so you're not going off the road.
And especially during a dark road, a foggy night, people need to know where they are. So we take it serious. We try to do it twice a year in the spring, and if we have money left over and the weather's cooperating, in the fall.
I know. I did times that I've driven home, and you follow those lines. It's so foggy. That's the only thing you can see. So you don't go off the road.
Exactly. And in addition to lines, I mean, signage is also an important part of the formula.
Yes.
And we're replacing some of the old signs where they're faded away, specifically stop signs, no parking signs, so people they understand what the rules are, rules of the road.
Now the sweeper, it's on order?
The sweeper was ordered the day after that we received a favorable vote.
The town meeting and the town election passed it.
And if I could just say one thing, we appreciate the confidence that the residents and taxpayers have in DPW, because you know, when you give us money to do the things we need to do, we put the rubber to the road. I mean,
Yep.
A perfect example is the aggressive roads program going on right now.
Yes.
We started this last Friday. We basically completed one of the streets today, portions of Church Street Extension, from the east side of the bridge near Osterman's out to the intersection of Quaker Street. And basically, we also completed a small segment of Carpenter Road, 1,000 feet from Shannon Drive out to the causeway. And we actually spent some pothole money that the state gave us this year to patch some of the bad areas on the causeway. So things are moving pretty good. If people are expecting paving work to be done tomorrow, Friday, they'll be surprised that you'll see many, many people out there just raising structures and reorienting structures in preparations for an aggressive Monday and Tuesday. So Monday and Tuesday, if anybody's traveling Douglas Road and Fletcher Street, beware of detours. You'll have heavy detours at those areas.
Right, because you've got to raise the manholes, right?
Right. We'll raise them, paint the frames, and then we'll pave right behind them. So if everything goes right, which it should be, we started early this year. We started, like I said, last week. You know, the town gave us money. We're into our fourth year of the Road No Road Behind program. We also received $300,000 from the town at the last time, 2 town meetings ago. So we have about $1 million in the kitty right now to spend.
From what I understand, you got a good favorable bid on those roads.
Yeah, we received prices that were $70 a ton versus $82 a ton last year. So
yeah, that's
significant. That's about 15%.
Yeah, when you're talking, it doesn't sound like a lot, $12 a ton, but when you're talking how much you got to do, it's a sizable amount of money.
It is, and you know, part of this aggressive program is to once school gets out, we're going to be reallocating our crews to Ovian Square,
Yeah.
to basically cold plane that, replace structures, realign structures. And also, we'll probably do that work at night when the traffic is nil.
Yeah.
And then we'll swing over to Memorial Square, from Memorial Square out to just east of Arcade Street, Main Street. Curb to curb, we're going to remove about 1,800 feet of railroad track with ties.
Now that's going to be a job.
That's going to be an intense job, and especially with the people that work in the mills,
Yes.
because it basically hugs that same side where people park their cars.
Yes.
And when this is all said and done, the plan right now is to create designated parking on that side, rather than just have a fog line. Have designated parking T's and L's like we have on Church Street, so people have a dedicated space and not trying to find a space.
Right. Yeah, because parking for the shop is quite a problem.
And I think you could fit more cars in if you have it a little bit more organized. So that'll be a challenge. And one of the reasons why we're doing that project, Harry, is the fact that that $300,000 was earmarked for that project.
Right.
You know, we think that that's a high priority project. It's in the center of town. That road is failing big time. You can't patch a pothole on the pothole on the pothole. We've got 5th generation potholes on that street. And the 2-ton hot box could only do so much.
Right. Now, are you going to extend that later on? Because it's starting to wear down out toward Walmart too as well now.
Yeah, well, out toward Walmart, we're probably going to do a patch and repair, or possibly some crack sealing and patching and repairing. But it's delaminating along that stretch of road where the reservoir is on either side.
You know, somebody said to me that Grafton had oiled the roads, oil and sand. And I said, "You sure?" "Oh yeah, I saw him doing it." I thought that you couldn't do that anymore because of environmental reasons.
That is illegal. What they probably saw is a chip seal application,
Right.
which is legal. We used a rubber chip seal the last time, and there's also a stone chip seal. Stone chip seal gives you a harder ride,
Yeah.
and a rubber chip seal is a soft ride. It's a rubber feel.
That's what you did on Quaker.
We did that on Quaker and on Mendon
And,
with
yeah,
a hot in place recycling.
it seemed to work pretty good.
It's okay, but you know, the way Jamie and I rated it is that the best solution is what we did on Carpenter Road this week with reclamation and put back 4 inches of asphalt. The second best is what we're doing now, cold planing, 1.5 inches of asphalt. And the third option is a combination of those two, cold plane, level, and put asphalt on top. Cost-wise, reclamation is going to cost about $20 a square yard. Cold planing, $12 a square yard, so there's a big difference in cost.
Reclamation, that's the stuff that they grind.
Right, we go into the asphalt and dirt around 12 inches. We mix it up, crown it, roll it, and pave it. That's what they're doing on Sutton Street, Mass DOT. And by the way, Sutton Street is coming out fantastic. They've got the section of road from the Sutton Town line past Hill Street, about 1,000 feet going east. And for the folks that travel Sutton Street, Mass DOT plans to have it paved all the way down to Gendron with a binder only. And the focus from next week forward will be on the area between Gendron and Providence Road. They've got some more drainage work down there.
Yeah.
They've got some intensive reclamation work. And, you know, the interesting thing about that project is, in addition to the reclamation work, they have a base course plus a binder course on top of the base. So you've got about 5 inches of asphalt right now.
And they're putting more down
And then
too.
they're going to put a top coat on it, possibly another 2 inches on top of that. And a sidewalk on the south side from Providence Road up to Hill Street. And for people that want to go to Five Corners no longer exists. It's now
4 corners.
4 corners plus 1.
Right.
And that came out, the geometry really works well up there.
Yes. I heard some favorable feelings about that because it was kind of complicated when you had a car come out on Poland Road and then well, who goes?
Exactly.
Now they're going to come out onto Hill
Right.
a little bit, not much, but a little bit further down.
Yep, you have to come out on Hill and take a right, and then off you go down to the center of Whitensville.
Right.
And one other thing too, folks, I mean, a lot of people have called my office and asked, how come you're not doing the rest of Hill Street? We're going to wait until Mass DOT completes Sutton Street. There's a lot of heavy traffic on that road right now.
Yep.
And our plan next year is to go from the Grafton line all the way back to Sutton Street, and then from Sutton Street all the way back to as much as that retirement home, St.
Camillus.
St. Camillus. Thank you. I lost my train of thought there. But that'll happen next year, not this year. And my discussions with Mass DOT this morning indicate that the Sutton Street project will be completely paved this year, possibly only a binder course with some top, and next spring they'll come out and wrap it up.
Right, but they got sidewalks to get in.
Sidewalks to get in, and granite curbing
Granite
also.
curbing. It's quite a distance.
It is.
And then on top of that, of all the laterals all in for the sewer.
They're wrapping those up as we speak, some water services and some laterals.
Yeah, because that's why they're closing the road, right?
Exactly.
When you're digging off to the side here, you don't want to block all the traffic up. And
They had some cross trenches, and some of the people up there had old lead services, water lead services, so we're replacing those with the plastic services. This is the opportunity to do it.
Yep.
And we have a lot of folks up there that had, two services connected into the same pipe going to the road, so we made them separate those where they have direct connects to the mains, the way it should
Right.
be. So a lot of those things came up, and we said, hey, Mass DOT is going to do this project. Why not get in there right now and make those corrections?
Yep.
And Mark Shuris is also making those same corrections with the sewer.
Yeah, now there was a problem on the sewer line from, by the railroad tracks up about almost to Cooper Road, right?
There was. We cameraed that, and that didn't seem to be too bad. So that remained in place. It didn't seem to be too bad.
Okay, but there was people were getting back up into their homes.
But that was the, when I first came here in 2011, they were wrapping up that pipe bursting project under Dick Sarsfield's leadership.
Yeah.
And that work was just completed at that time, back in the fall of 2011.
So the pipe bursting opened that up enough that.
It opened it up. They pulled a new line in there, so it should be free and clear from this point forward.
All right.
And also, as part of that project, Dick Sarsfield's team also put new services in. They gave people that didn't have sewer.
Right.
So right now, knock on wood, all of our customers for water and sewer should have that availability to tie in from Hill Street down to Providence Road.
Well, actually now, by law, if the sewer goes by, you have to tie in within 2 years.
Right, we made the homeowners aware of that, but we're also going to give them some flexibility because
What's the tie-in fee now?
it's $1,800 for water,
Uh-huh.
and it's $7,920 for sewer if it's a new construction. So if it's 10 years or newer, it's an $800 sewer connection fee, but $1,800 per water connection, 5/8 or 3/4 inch service.
But water, you don't have to connect.
You don't.
You have the option. But with sewer, you are mandated by law to connect within 2 years.
Well, we have an exception on that because some of our customers have homes that are set back, 300 to 400 feet from the road.
Yeah, it'd be pretty costly.
It's very costly, so we're giving them that option. You can tie in now. It's not going to be a requirement,
Right.
but if you have a failed septic system and you have to tie in, you have that
Well,
capability.
then it's well worth it.
And we have all of the stubs off the road
Yep.
onto at the right of way, edge of the right of way, so people can connect easily.
And the other thing is too, if you do connect, you have to do your own connection from the road to your house.
Exactly.
That town doesn't do that for you.
Right. Our responsibility ends at the termination of the service
Right.
onto the private lot. And we have it all staked out. We have the tie cards. The water has the tie cards. The sewer has the tie cards. So if you're thinking of tying into the water and sewer, and again, the sewer's not going to be available until the project is complete.
Right, because you have
next
to do
spring.
the test. You have to do a
Right.
pressure test on the line.
Well, they've been testing the lines as we've been going on, but we have to make it so that if there's a problem, you could access the manholes. And right now, the
Yeah.
manholes are basically covered up for the new construction.
Right.
But we're looking forward to having more customers to give us more revenue in the water and sewer enterprise funds.
Right, and that's where this is being paid for, is with the
Exactly.
enterprise fund. So it's not costing the average taxpayer. it's causing the people that are on the system.
Right. And one other thing too, Harry, I mean,
But you need more people on the system because you got to do constant upgrades.
yes.
And with more people on the system, it makes it easier to do the upgrades.
Right, we had estimates going into this project too, and it was approved at town meeting, a certain amount of dollars for water and sewer at these locations for the water and sewer enterprise funds. And I have to report that each of those projects is coming in under budget.
Oh,
So, which is a big cost savings for the enterprise funds, which should also minimize the need to raise rates based on those projects.
right.
And right now, those projects are not causing any rate increases right now, so we're making
But
enough
people have to
money.
understand too, if the Winesville Water Company raises the rates, the selectmen will raise the rates on the Northbridge system
Right,
because they don't feel it's fair that if you're on the Winesville system, they're gonna pay more than the people on the Northbridge system, so they keep it balanced.
exactly,
Everybody pays the same rate.
exactly. And one other thing too, I mean, talking about cost savings, initially, we had used some of our Chapter 90 money dedicated for inspections on the Sutton Street project, having our consultant engineer that did the design, AECom, act as a consultant on the installation of the drainage, the water, the sewer, and the
Right.
roads. And I'm very happy to report that the DPW stepped up to the plate. The highway with Jamie, Mark Curtis with the sewer and his guys, and our guys with the highway. And also Whitensville Water. Whitensville Water performed all the inspections on the water with our team. Mark performed all the inspections on sewer with his team. Jamie did all the inspections on drainage and roads and trees with his team. So out of that $92,000 for Chapter 90 that we dedicated, we probably only used about $10,000. So what happens is
Oh,
that money is going to go into the roads.
right.
So next year, we'll have even more money to spend. We'll have another $80,000 to spend on Chapter 90. And hopefully, the state's going to release some additional Chapter 90 later this year. You know, right now the goal is to stop road construction such that it completes before Halloween.
Right.
We don't want to go into the trick-or-treater season or the Thanksgiving season when the weather gets cold.
Well, you don't want to pave when it gets too cold.
Exactly. And the tough part about paving when it's cold is now you've got to put pavement markings on the road.
Yep.
And when it gets below 40 degrees, paint doesn't work. And it flakes off. So we talked about that earlier. Pavement markings are a critical part of the element. So if we can
Right.
pave when the temperatures are getting 40 and higher, I mean paint, that's when you paint.
Yep. Oh, so it doesn't bind well.
Exactly. It becomes a rush job. You know, typically, when I was in the private sector doing subdivisions as a developer, you'd want to just get the road down before the snow started so you could
Right.
put foundations in. And that's not always the best way to do it, you know?
We had a situation when Shiny Rocks paved one of their roads in the winter. It was snowing, and
Yeah.
they're paving the road. Didn't tell the planning board they were going to do that. We found out after the fact. Well, we didn't accept it.
Good for you.
Made them do it over again. Dick Sawzo was DPW director
for
at the
you.
time, and he went up and told them, it's not being accepted. You're going to have to dig this road up and do it over again. Because the town's going to own that road. So, yeah, you're right, developers will try to pull that off because they just want to get the foundations in.
You know, part of the requirement, and at least when I was doing building commissioning, is, you know, you can't build until you have a paved road.
Right.
So if you can't build on a dirt road in a subdivision, you have to have a paved
Right.
road, then you can build.
You have to have your infrastructure in.
Exactly, but you know, sometimes things happen. I'm not going to say how they happen, but they happen backwards.
Right. But, well, anyway, going back, yeah, so Sutton Street will be completely done by 2016.
Right, May 2016 is the date when they have top coat coming down and completing on that project.
What
Loaming and seating and top coat.
people will be very happy because especially if you live on Fowler Road and you got all that traffic now.
And what you're going to be seeing, like I said earlier, from Gendron on down to Providence Road, they've got some more retaining walls to build adjacent to the stone wall, the historical stone wall at the corner of Cooper Road and Sutton Street
Yes.
on the south side. And they've got a retaining wall, a shallow retaining wall that's going to bridge between the sidewalk and the stone wall, so that protects that wall and that tree that sits on the corner. And that work will start shortly. And it's going to be a wonderful gateway into Northbridge.
Yes.
However, the traffic speed will definitely pick up.
It always does. But then that's a time for the police to get out there and put some radar out there.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that too, Harry, is the fact that you're going to have pavement markings on that street going from one side to the next side, crosswalks
Yes.
with signages. So by default, it's going to be a neighborhood. It's not going to be a quick way to Northbridge like it used to be, with no signs, no
Right.
crosswalks, just road with potholes and shoulders. And you could fly. Now you're going to have designated areas with signs, pavement markings, delineations.
Is there going to be a bikeway?
There's going to be a 4-foot fog line on each side of the road between the curb and the lane. So it's going to be a 4-foot bike lane, 11-foot road on each side, so 30 feet of pavement, curb to curb.
Wow.
It's going to be nice. And most of the people, I don't want to name people's names, but some of the people that live adjacent to Cooper Road on Sutton Street have groundwater coming out of their driveway that goes into the road, causing icing situations in the winter.
Right.
All of these drainage issues should go away because we've actually installed catch basins on the home side of the sidewalk to catch that water, put it into the drainage system, and take it away so it doesn't go on the road.
I know at one point, one time, I was on a planning board at the time, this is a number of years ago, we had a situation when they were building the housing development that comes off of there, Jessica,
Yep.
and they were in the middle of construction of it, and we had a quick meltdown, and we actually had a river coming down Sutton Street because the culverts underneath couldn't handle the water.
Right.
Now, they're addressing all that, I assume.
Well, they installed a 48-inch cross culvert in the vicinity of Gendron.
Yes, that was what the problem was.
That was the first part of the project early on. They said, we have to get rid of this water somehow. It was sort of like a funnel effect,
Yes.
You've got a huge volume of water going into a funnel, and guess what? The capacity wasn't there, so it just overflowed
Yeah,
onto people's land or on the road.
yeah. In
Now-
fact, General Street used to wash out until we got the developer to pave it.
I saw a picture of that with the gentleman that lives on the corner because he showed me where his car was actually in the trench. Up to the roof line
Yes.
of the car. The car was submerged about 5 feet in a trench.
Yep.
So
I was chairman of the planning board at the time. It was a nightmare. And fortunately, they did that project in there, and we got the road paved. Till they paved that road, the highway department was up there putting gravel all the time.
Well, a nice thing about that whole area is the planning board on the Hemlock Estates project, okay? Part of
Yes.
the requirement for that developer, and I've got to applaud the planning board folks, is they're going to have them improve Smith Street,
Yep.
which goes onto Sutton Street. Right now,
Right.
it's basically ragged and in bad condition.
Yep.
So part of the plan is for them to come in, the developer, and improve sections of Smith Street that lead to Gendron and to
Right.
Sutton Street. So we're going to get the biggest bang for the buck.
General Street was actually the first project approved by the planning board in Northbridge back in the 60s, when they first came about with it. They first introduced the concept of planning boards.
Mm-hmm.
That was their first development. And you can see how green they were. They didn't even get the road paved. Subdivision rules and regs hadn't been written yet. So it's come a long way.
We've come a long way. And like I said earlier, Gary Beckholt and the planning group keep us advised as to what's going on. They have a
Yep.
consultant that does the reviews for them, paid by the developer.
Right.
But we also get
Jim Malley.
involved. Well, right now it's JH Engineering.
Oh, okay.
So we get involved in basically everything from water, sewer, drainage, sitescape. They've got some high walls for wetland crossings, river crossings on the project on Highland Street. And there's also a subdivision going on Carpenter Road. It's going to be private water, private sewer, but they've got these large mechanical engineered walls.
Now, this is up, if people live in town, familiar, near the Poor Farm.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're not familiar, it's on the other side of the causeway, on the Sutton side.
Yes.
what I don't like about that is it's going to be in Northbridge, so people have the ties to Northbridge. That causeway can't take much more traffic.
No, one of the things Jamie and I were talking about today was submitting a project request to Mass DOT, a TIP project. It might take 20 years like Sutton Street did, but something has to be done.
Sutton Street was going to be done in the 90s, but we had problems with the layout,
Right.
and that's what delayed it. If we didn't have the problems with the layout and the road easements, it would have been done in the 90s. But those problems had to be resolved, and by the time they got resolved, the money, Central Mass Planning took the money away and did some projects elsewhere. But it then finally came back. But the thing is, the problem with the causeway is you got two different groups. You got the town and you got the water company,
I agree.
and neither one wants to have ownership.
Well, the thing is, I want to start a good relationship, a better relationship with Whitensville Water, and do it as a private-public partnership project, you know, because they own it.
They agree to it?
I believe so, and I can't.
See, they don't want to agree to that because there was an accident a number of years ago where someone drove off the causeway. They were speeding. They died in the accident. The town got sued. The water company said, no, it's not ours, so the town ended up paying. Well, now, the water company feels the same way. The fence is in very bad disrepair.
I agree.
It's very dangerous. You could have another accident there. I don't know who put the speed bumps in. It must have been the town.
It was the Whitensville Water Group.
Whitensville Water Group. So they're concerned. But the thing is, it's caving in.
Most definitely.
It's caving in on the sides. The sides are letting go. I remember a number of years ago, the National Guard actually dumped a lot of fill in there to try to retain it over on the would be the west side. I'm trying to think if it's north and south. It's actually east and west.
Yeah, some of my guys today said that they did. They loaded it up with large pieces of rock on both sides. So
to try to stabilize
a riprap.
Yeah, to try to stabilize it somewhat.
But you can't do those things today. You need certain permits to do that.
Right. Yeah. Things have changed a lot, and it's the water source.
I was thinking of putting in like a Zakin Bridge over the causeway, a nice Zakin Bridge.
That would be something.
But something that I'm just making a joke there, but something has to be done in that area. And with the technologies you have right now with drillings, they have these spiral type of footing support you could easily put in, but you need permits.
Right.
But I was talking with some of the people on the Sutton side of the causeway about putting together some type of environmental plan with Mass DOT and the DCR and Whitensville Water, just getting everybody involved. It's going to be a long-term project.
I'm wondering if it'd be worth the town to go to the owners of the land that extends off of Rocky Road. Of course, the people on Rocky Road wouldn't like it because they're on a cul-de-sac now. But if you extended that out to North Main, it's not that far. To extend it out to North Main, it comes out by the ice cream place.
I've been here 4 years. That's the first time I heard that, Harry, about that possibility of extending it out.
That would be a heck of a lot cheaper.
It will be.
But you'd have to get some road easements, because unless somebody did it as a subdivision, which was talked about at one point, but it never went about. But if the town went in, took the land by eminent domain, and put a road through, that's a heck of a lot cheaper than trying to fix that causeway. Then you put a cul-de-sac on the end of both the causeways.
What's that going to? That could create a traffic problem to a quick source to 146.
Actually, the other way would be a quick source. It's not it wouldn't be a quick source for anybody who lives there now to 146. But actually, I had people say that they timed it out, and it was just as quick. If you were on the east side, it was just as fast to drive over to Goldquait, over to North Main, and it's quicker to get on 146 that way than it is to go through there, because then you got to go to Lincoln Street in Sutton, and then you got to drive down Sutton Street.
You're right, Harry. I mean, I don't take that way that often, but if you go back on Carpenter Road, take it right on Goldthwaite to North Main, you're there.
Yeah,
It's quick.
it's quick.
And the roads are good. The roads are new in that direction
Right.
also.
Yes. See, so actually it would be better.
Talking about our roads, I mean, our plan is to do between 8 and 10 miles of road a year. You know, we've done about 30 miles of road in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And if you add Sutton Street, there's another 2.1. So, and we have about 83 miles of roads. And one of the things we try to do is, there's no road left behind, is not just look at the main roads, but look at some of the side streets. Like we did Sprague Street last year section.
Yes.
You know, depending on where we are with our finances, and again, using the money we're hopefully going to save on not using consultants to inspect Mass DOT's project, the sewer and water, we'll do it ourselves. If we have more money left, we'll put that on these other roads. So if you have any road concerns, any residents that are watching, give my office a call and let us know. We'll take a look at it, because we do our best to look at all the streets in town, but there may be some that are missing. And we don't want to miss anybody. We want everybody to be part of
Well,
it. And
I could say, once this Sutton Street project done, Fowler Road needs a lot of work.
I agree. Fowler Road and Kelly Road
Yes.
and Cooper Road, right now, those were being used as a detour on
Right.
the Sutton Street project. So once that project is completed next summer, next May, they say May 2016, our goal right now is to approach those projects and just tie in. We could actually tie into the project on Benson Road too. We can go from Cooper,
Yep. Well,
past Fowler, down to Benson.
Benson at the bottom half,
Oh yeah.
but from 122 up to, I don't know if you know where Jack Davis lives.
I do.
Yeah, up to, really bad.
I understand.
And I don't know what much you can do other than pave over that.
Well, what we did last winter was we used a hot box as you come down Benson before Providence Road near Sherry Street.
Yes.
It's nasty,
Yes.
to say the least.
Yeah,
not
I
as
must have-
bad, not as bad as Fowler, but it's nasty. And we had the hot box crew out there repeatedly to do the work. And one thing that Jamie did this year, which was a great approach, it's common sense, but he physically had tack coat applied to the pothole, a dry pothole, before we put the mix on top. You can't do that during the winter months. During the winter months, you fill a hole
Well,
as best you could, and you
you
leave
constantly
it.
got water getting in there.
But we did this springtime in preparation for the funeral procession and Memorial
Right.
Day. We actually did a fairly decent job on Church Street patching from Koopman's up to the Armenian Church, using that philosophy of tack coat plus hot mix. It worked out well.
How about the state? Could you get on the state? They got some problems too. Down by Sovereign Bank, I think they patched it somewhat. It's a little bit better, but there was a pothole there that was so bad. You know, I'm replacing a ball joint on my car because of the potholes.
On Providence Road.
I don't know which one, because I'm all over town. I have to go down Fowler Road to get to the post office.
I know they had a trench that went across the street, a drainage trench down near Sherry Street. that
Well, they got
ca-
one.
that they came back and repaired.
Yeah, but they also got one over by the Rockdale Sports Bar. It was I don't know if that was a trench. My co-host says it was a speed bump. It's all breaking apart.
That was a frost heave down to the treatment plant. Is that the area or down the other end?
No, down the other end. You know where the Klosek property is?
Yes, I do.
Right there.
Well, I think that might have been caused from all the hauling of heavy material from the Sutton Street.
No, they
project.
actually cut the road. They did that when they were doing the bridge, the famous bridge over to Blackstone, the Ross Rajat Bridge. So he says it was a speed bump.
I wasn't aware of that.
Well, you look at when you go by there. Take a look at that. That's a mess right there. That's another one that drives me crazy.
Well, I have a one-on-one contact with a bunch of people at Mass DOT. So I
Over
will-
by Sovereign Bank
Yep.
on 122, there's one. You got the frost heaves down in Linwood, down near the treatment plant.
Right.
I know they know about that because they had a sign up. But let's get it fixed.
Yeah, winter's gone, summer's here.
Yeah.
but they will come back and make those repairs.
And that's not your responsibility. That is their responsibility.
But we have a sewer structure at that location, and the sewer structure
Yes,
is
caved in.
It goes to nowhere, so we could basically abandon that.
Oh, really?
Right, we could remove that sewer structure.
Well, what the hell? What's it there for?
It's for future potential, for some future use that was never there. But we
Oh.
could actually remove that structure, fill a hole, compact it, pave it, and kiss
I
it
wonder if
goodbye.
that was for the industrial park that was proposed.
I don't think so, but Mark Curris mentioned that it's abandoned and it's never going to be used.
Oh.
So now's the time to remove it.
Yeah.
We'll save one frame and cover on that project for our other projects.
Right. But yeah, things like that, because when you're driving down a road and you hit these things, I mean, it's not just here. I hit one in Webster. They were putting water pipes in or something. I don't know, water hookups on this on Thompson Road, and when they fill the hole back in, you know what it's like. You got to compact it good, but then you get the trucks running over it, and it sinks and it sinks. And I'm driving on the road, and it was paved nice, and it looked like it was even, but boy, I hit it with my sod, and I thought I was going to go through. Well, it had the top down. I went through the roof.
Well, one of the good things here, with all this heavy raining we had the last couple of days, right? The compaction is ultimately at the best right now.
Yep.
On Sutton Street. It packed really good, and you're right. The biggest part of road construction is compaction. The soils and the asphalt. If you don't compact it right, you're going to have voids.
Yep.
Water's getting into the voids. If they don't drain and it freezes, there's only one place to go, up.
Up.
And then when it thaws out, it comes down. Heavy traffic goes on, and there's your pothole.
Yep.
So one of the things you'll see this year too, folks, is the fact that we're going to have an aggressive crack sealing program that's going to follow behind the paving that we're doing. So all those joints you see on the roads between the new and the old, on like Church Street Extension, you'll see them on Douglas Road. Fletcher Street's going to be curb to curb, so you won't see any joints on that street. It's going to be a nice street, and that's going to be a heavily traveled street, fast transportation street. And crack sealing is part of it. So crack sealing, pavement markings, and paving.
Jeez. I don't even know who that is. No, the thing is now, the joint sealing, what drives me crazy with joint sealing is, you go down the road, it's like a washboard. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, when you have to when you have to crack seal a road such that there's more crack seal than road surface,
Yeah,
it's time to cold plan it or reclaim it
right.
and do it the right way. Why do we want to put generations of crack seal?
But you
on-
got that in a lot of streets in town.
I know we do, but we're going to try to prevent that. I mean, Main Street's a perfect example. Main Street's a perfect example. Fletcher Street's a perfect example. Church Street Extension was a perfect example. So we're trying to eliminate that type of behavior.
Should have done that before I went on.
Always shut your cell phone, huh?
I know, I don't think about it.
And one other thing too, you might have noticed all the work being done on Ovian Square with the National Grid folks and Verizon and Charter.
Yes.
We finally motivated National Grid to remove that leaning pole, the 15-degree pole that looked like it was coming down on the square, and they replaced it with a vertical pole, new guy wires that go in a public way, not on private property. And right now they're wrapping that up as we speak. And that's part of our project for Ovian Square reconstruction. We're going to put, you might see asphalt sidewalks where they patched it, but that's only temporary. Let it settle down. We'll come in before the fall. Our goal is to put concrete sidewalks from the parking lot on Church Street around the corner and up Prospect, where right now it's all asphalt. When they made that repair many years ago, they just put asphalt rather than concrete.
Yep.
So it's our goal to put nice concrete. And then you're going to say, folks, why did they paint the crosswalks if they knew they were going to dig it up, okay? But you have to provide for safety for the people, and that's the key right now. We painted them white, we painted them yellow to make it safe, and paint is cheap. And the contract that the contractor has is, when they rip a road up, they put back the paint that was there before. So, yeah, we have to pay for it again, but it will be done as part of the contract. And one other thing too, folks, we also painted the highly traveled Memorial Square with new white lines, new divider lines. And Jamie and his crew are going to get out there and start putting the school stencils in the school zones to tell people, slow down, the
How
kids are
about
here.
the crosswalks down in Rockdale?
Those are coming up next too. And we're focusing on those as we speak. We talked about that today too, Harry, Jamie and I.
Oh, good, because I was going through, I said, God, these things are really
No,
in bad
those-
shape.
Actually, the contractor should have painted a double yellow line down there also, where State Highway ends before the bridge
Right.
and after the Sutton Street intersection. So they
Yes.
have about 1.4 miles of road to restripe. And they're going to come in because the street sweeper right now, when they wrap up the fog line sweeping, I'll call a contractor back as early as next week to come back and finish off the double yellow in the center, single yellow in the center, and the fog lines. And then
Now-
we'll call it a day until the fall.
Church Ave,
That's yeah.
is that on the agenda? That one.
That will be. That's a horrible road.
You can see how much traffic, you came here, you saw how many cars
did.
were up here.
I did. The interesting thing about that street is there are so many catch basins located in the wrong locations. Catch basins are usually in the gutter because the road crowns to the gutter.
Yes.
But we have situations here where Plantation Street, Taft Street, the catch basins are in the center of the road, which tells me that the road, instead of going like this, goes like this.
Yeah,
So that's going to be a difficult project because we're going to have to provide new geometry to the road, which may affect people's driveways. So we have to take a close look at that. It's not just cold plane it and pave it. We have to really do some engineering on that to set grades and elevations. But you're right, that road is all over the place.
oh, yeah, it's horrible for the guys that work here to come up that way. And then you got the intersection down at down at the Leroy's Garage,
Yeah, I brought that before. the
Dusselborn Square.
I brought that before the safety committee about 2 weeks ago, and I spent time with the Mass DOT Transportation Division on an easy repair just by putting different pavement markings.
Yeah,
So coming down School Street, where it intersects Providence Road, instead of going straight and just stopping with the stop sign, the plan is to curve it a little bit to the left, reorient the stop bar and the stop sign, and paint between Upton Road and School Street with a hash marks where that'll direct traffic more to like a T
yeah,
rather than just quick edge out.
right.
And that could happen. That could actually help it because people coming off Sutton Street right now, and they're looking at School Street. Okay, so what they want to do is take that shortest distance and go diagonally across.
Right.
So if we do what we said we're going to do, when you come off Sutton, you have to go right a ways, about 75 feet. Then you have to take a left. There'll be a double yellow hash mark in the middle there. So that'll work. That should be getting done sometime between now and maybe the end of July.
You're gonna have to fix the trench that they put in there to
Oh, yes.
get the water up to the golf course. Oh, you don't know what that is?
No, I don't. You caught me again, Harry.
Well, it's former chairman of the planning board, see? No, the Rockdale Mill had a water plant. That's why you have a Northbridge water system. The water system that the town now owns used to belong to Paul Whiten Manufacturing, which was down here, the mill down in Rockdale. And when they went out of business in 1953, it was given over to the town of Northbridge. That's how the town got it.
Mm-hmm.
The Winslow system was built by the White Machine Works, and they sold that to R.H. White. Well, anyway, the water they used to get came from a station right down near the Blackstone. There's wells there. And just like Jim Knott's wells near the Blackstone, the water is pure as pure as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Blackstone River water. It's coming out of a aquifer that's way down below the river. That's
Mhm.
underneath. It's a river under the river. Well, anyway, he needed it for irrigation, which I don't understand because there's a lot of water up there already.
Shining Rock?
Yeah,
Okay.
but he wanted it for irrigation, so he ran a line from that pump station, and he buys the water from Claus, who owns it,
Oh.
and they pump it up to the Shining Rock Golf Course for the irrigation system. And that's why that trench goes all the way up, and it goes all the way up School Street.
What's out of School Street? I never noticed that.
Well, you don't see it on School Street because Dick Sawzo paved School Street.
Okay.
but you see the trench going across the square.
Okay, now I know what you're saying. I know what it is now.
Yeah. And it's,
Interesting.
And it's kind of dilapidated. Now they patched it, but they, as usual, they did a lousy job. And it's breaking up.
Is that it's not that wide?
No, because
It's very narrow.
It's only a narrow line that goes through, and of course, in the wintertime, they drain it.
I'll be honest with you. I thought that was a rail,
No, that's
like on Main Street.
right.
That because it comes off of 7th Street and it goes like this to the right.
But it's only one.
Interesting.
It's a water line that goes to the golf course.
That is a horrible trench, by the way,
It is.
because we patched that consistently over the winter months
Yep.
and the spring months.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Harry. Now I could deal with it.
The only history on the town, I got quite a bit. But I know that was what the purpose was, and they patched it, but what they should have done was a laser patching.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Because they're not integrated. It's a separate patch from the
Right.
asphalt. It's not tied in.
No, it's not. If they'd lasered it with a new system they have, it probably would have held.
You like an infrared?
Yeah, the infrared.
Yeah, what we could do there is just dig the trench out. If the trench is this wide, make it about 12 inches wide. We have a lip on top and put asphalt and tack coat it and do it the right way and compact
Yeah.
it. So it shouldn't be that should be a shallow line.
Yeah. It's not that deep.
And what diameter pipe?
I have no idea.
Probably a small diameter.
What you could probably, if you check with Gary Bechtel,
I will.
he should have it on the plans.
I will. This is all new to me.
Oh yeah, I can guarantee you that's what it is, and that's why if you look, it goes right up Sutton Street,
I agree.
and it turns right after the bridge
Exactly.
because it goes down to that pump station.
So if I give Tom, it's Tom Cause, I think.
Well, the cars has nothing to do with it. They just buy the water from. It's the golf course that owns it.
But Gary has the plans. I'll talk
Yeah.
to Gary tomorrow.
It's the golf course that owns the line.
Okay.
And cars just, if I was Henry Cause and someone came to me and said, "Hey, can I buy your water?" I said, "Yeah, sure you can buy my water. What the hell do I care?"
And they're using ultra pure water for irrigation of the golf course.
Yeah. But it's not hooked into the system. That used to be the water that you had in Rockdale. That's what the purpose of that was. There's another one over at the end of Railroad Street.
So who has all this information other than you? And this is good knowledge you have here.
Well, anybody who's been in town for the last 60 years.
I spent a couple of days with you on the ride to town.
Yeah. If you get on the end of Railroad Street, there's another brick building there. You've seen that.
No, Railroad Street's a dead-end street off of...
Well, it's a
Sutton
cul-de-sac now because we had that put in when I was on a planning board. We had a person that owned a lot of land down here, wanted to build some houses for his kids. We had him to pave the circle at the end.
I've never driven down Railroad Street all the way down.
Look,
I'm familiar with it because of the project, the Sutton
Yep.
Street project,
Well,
for the railroad
when
right
you're
away.
down there, take a drive down. You'll see a brick building down there. That's part of the water system. And then right next to the bridge, next to the river, you look down there, there's a brick building down there. You've probably seen it.
I have.
It's got the driveway going down.
That's in. I'm gonna look at that also.
We're going to get together and take a ride around
I
town
definitely
sometime.
want to do that. Hey, can I just talk about one thing about
Yes,
the DPW
absolutely.
facility?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I wanted to get into that. Are
Yeah.
we getting anywhere?
Yeah, we have a. We're on the agenda for next Thursday night at the BPCC at 7 o'clock at Town Hall, and Ted Kozak and I are going to present a possible, very very low scaled down version for DPW improvements at the existing site. And I know there's been some discussion that let's locate to a different location, but back in 1941 that site was chosen as the site. It's in the center of
It
town.
was donated by the Whitens.
It's Whiten's donation. It has a deed restriction on it. It's
Yes.
always going to be a DPW highway.
Exactly.
We know we could build a 19,000 square foot facility. I had that thing permitted to build 19,000 square feet. The cost was a little bit too much, so it was never presented to a town meeting. We did option 2, purchase land within a half a mile. That was disapproved. So now, Ted approached me and the selectman, what are you going to do? So I've got a proposition before the BPCC. I spoke to a licensed site professional that gets involved in AUL sites, activity use limitation sites, remediation sites, and they're indicating that, like the other consultants, that we can build there.
Right.
And this new build-out plan is not going to provide a lot of site work like the initial plan was, like changing the grades, replication of wetlands,
Right.
floodplain areas. This is a simple, demolish straight of buildings that should be demolished, take away
Yep.
the fueling station, and in that same footprint, which is part of the remediation site, build a 6,000 to 8,000 square foot facility, metal building,
Yep.
cheap metal building with heat, a bathroom, running water, concrete slab, maybe 5 or 6 overhead doors, translucent light, like a penthouse, natural light, and try to get this thing built on the cheap. And when I say on the cheap, I mean, you know, I've talked to a lot of people in town that, you know, part of the concerned citizens. I'm speaking to everybody. I want to get everybody's
Right.
ideas, you know. And they're building a project like that off of Hill Street, far from a farm right now, a metal building. And I've been talking to the contractor, who I know very well, Sean Pepper, with Poolin Construction. I know him very well.
Yep. Familiar with them.
And they're doing a really good job. That went up real quick. It has knee walls, like we wanted knee walls initially, but
Right.
we may not have knee walls in this one to get it done less expensively.
Well, yeah, but knee walls make a good additive because the fact that if you hit them, they don't dent.
It's the right way to do it, but it does add cost, and we're trying to get this thing at the lowest cost
Right,
possible.
but you know what? The cost now is minuscule compared to the cost if
Yeah.
you don't do it. The building lasts longer. Knee walls keep the building from getting damaged from people running into them with their vehicles. I think it makes more sense. But I think you also, and it's worth the investment, and I think the town would go for it. You
Yeah.
need a wash facility.
Well, wash facility is what costs money because you have environmental issues.
I
you know.
realize that, but the long-term savings on the equipment would more than pay for that.
Yeah. Well, back in the good old days when I did consulting, I actually worked as the clerk of the works on the project in Sterling, Mass. At DPW, and we installed a wash bay with the recycled water,
Right.
gray water. You know,
Yep,
you don't need clean water to wash your trucks. You need
No.
water,
right. You
and
need
then
one.
you just dump it and replace it. But that was a cost-efficient project. I mean, yeah, we should have a wash bay. Right now, we just wash the equipment with low-pressure hoses.
Yeah, but
It's not the best situation.
But look, we end up buying new equipment when we
I know.
wouldn't have to.
Well, that's something we have to look at, Harry. But what I was going to talk about is the town of Needham just built a facility, and it cost about $165 a square foot total. I mean, not
That's
just
not
the
a bad
building,
price.
but not just the building. The initial plan was about $325,000 a square foot, the 19,000 square foot building.
Right.
So this one is less than 1/3 the cost, and I think we can make this thing work. But we have to spend some money with a licensed site professional to probe the areas that we're trying to pinpoint the foundations. It's been a long time since we had that done,
Yep.
2001, I believe. So the conditions might have changed. Things might have migrated, and what they have to do is find out what the existing conditions are today.
Well, you won't be able to hold the building.
Right. And that's another thing. We're not going to dig down that deep. We'd like to dig down maybe 4 feet to put some wall footings in. and
Well, you got to
then
go down
some-
below the frost line.
Exactly. But I think we can make this thing work. I really do. And my goal right now is to work with the BPCC, give them a proposal. If they approve it, fine. If they don't, we'll work up another proposal. But
Well,
we need
I
to do something.
would tell you got to go with the knee walls. In the long run, you're going to be sorry if you don't. Because Ted won't. He'll be retired. Yeah, but you get out cheap, but you don't really get out cheap.
No, it protects the building,
Right.
basically.
It's like if you're building a house, you can go out and buy cheap material and cheap doors, but if you're going to live there for 30 years, you're going to be kicking your butt that you did. Better if you're going to, we're looking at a long-term investment, and 20 and 30 years doesn't take long to go by.
No, it doesn't.
So it's better to do it right the first time and get a good, solid building. I mean, the building you're in now, that's, 60 years old?
1941.
Better than that, then.
It's going on 75th anniversary coming up next
Yeah,
year.
75 years old. It's not in bad shape for a 75-year-old
No, it's
building
not.
because it was well done. And that's what makes sense. We got schools that are over 100 years old that we're still using because they were built. The town hall was built after the Civil War.
That's solid.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you do it right, long term, yeah, you're going to pay now, but over the long term, it's going to be well worth it.
Well, that's one thing we have to convince the voters, and we have to convince the BPC.
Well, they got to wake up to the fact. Don't strap the future voter by trying to save a couple of bucks now. You know, I think you got to do a bare bone building, but do it right.
That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to make it right, but use simple construction.
Right.
And yeah, you're right. The building starts from the foundation up. And if you have these large vehicles that happen to bump into the walls, you'd rather bump into a 12-inch concrete guard or concrete bumper than a tin building that you're going to end up on the opposite side of the building.
And it's going to end up costing more in the end with the repairs.
I agree. And that was our initial concept from the get-go, is to build these knee walls.
Right. Well, there's a purpose behind it. Knee wall isn't there for looks.
I know.
It serves a good purpose.
It's a guard, basically, to protect the structure.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to say is these metal buildings may be the way to go, but you know, a metal building, when you see them in the catalogs at $28 a square foot or $30 a square foot, that's deceiving, because you know you had all the you had the doors, the frames, the windows.
It's the same as the modular homes that they advertise, and they say, "Oh, look, you get this house for $40,000." But when you go and talk to the guy, by the time you're done, that house is now $65,000. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. You're getting the bare bone. The advertisement is deceiving because they're not giving you the whole spiel there.
I mean, the site work is a big issue. The mechanical things are a big issue. The concrete's a big issue.
Yeah.
And concrete's not $52 a cubic yard anymore like it used to be back in the 80s.
Right.
You're looking at triple digits. And when you add on prevailing wage...
There's your biggest problem.
Right, and there's no way that we could exclude prevailing wage.
No, because it's town property.
Unless I have my guys do the work, and then who plows the streets, who patches the potholes, who fixes the catch basins, who sweeps
But there
the streets.
again, I mean, that's not work that your guys can do. You need professional... putting a building up is a little bit more complicated than...
It is. I mean, you have to... This is the type of work you have to do day after day after day. Like
Right.
my folks do public works job.
Right.
They could do this job. They could do their job more efficient than someone outside.
Right.
Because that's what they do.
Right,
But if you have a specialty trade of building buildings and putting concrete, forming it,
Yeah.
you're better off to contract it out. Unfortunately, prevailing wage prevails, and you're going to add 2.5 to 3 times the amount.
Oh,
You know?
better than that. It almost doubles the price.
And that's where we go south, because that's what adds to the cost. And then you have to add an owner's project manager.
You know, we're getting close. The reason we don't own the water tower anymore at the end of Benson Road is because of prevailing wage. The town owned that. Turned it over to the water company because they could put it up in less than a day, and it didn't cost anywhere near what it was going to cost the town to do it because of prevailing wage.
Interesting, Harry.
Yeah.
You're a wealth of information.
We're going to work out spend the day together sometime. We can tell you. But that's true. Prevailing wage is killing a lot of projects for municipalities.
It's true. And when you say, well, how come it costs so much? That's exactly what the common denominator is. Prevailing wage causes these projects to exceed the budgets by a factor of 3 sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we got to go. Hey, thanks for coming in. We didn't get a call from Barry, but that gave us a chance to get a lot in.
I thought we were here till 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, that's right, Troy.
I can't believe it's already been an hour.
I told you.
We have to make this 2 hours, Harry.
You want to go another hour, Troy? You want to come back next week?
Next week might be a problem.
All right, you give me a
But
call.
what I'd like to do the next time, Harry, is invite Jamie to join me. And possibly...
We're off the air now.
I'd like to have Jamie and actually Mark Curris join me next time. We'll get everybody here.
You give me a call whenever you want to do
Harry.
it.
This is crazy.
I told you.
This is nuts.
I told you.
I want more.
I told you I wanted to do 2 hours.
Are we starting to do it? Can we start on the air here, Troy? Come on.
And we didn't have Barry Gallant. We're off the air.
Oh, wow.
No,
I can't
anytime,
believe it, Harry.
anytime you want, you give me a call and we'll do a 2-hour show.
I think we should.
Really,
We'll put it. I'll put like an agenda together so we can go off like an agenda. Just
Yeah.
like, you know, just.
yeah.
This is crazy. This went by way too quick. I get home and see my wife now. See how she's doing.
Ted's gonna be. Ted might be watching. I told him he
That
can
was
get
funny
on.
when you said that Ted's gonna be retiring.
Yeah,
You think Ted's watching?
he could be. I told him. I said all you gotta do is go on to nctv.org.
He'll rip me a new butthole now. He says, "What are you talking about the other street? Why are you talking about that stuff for? You can have people show up at meetings."
He doesn't want any controversy.
Yeah, but you know what, Harry? You gotta make yourself transparent. You know?
Exactly.
I mean, I have nothing to hide.
No.
I mean, you know,